So with quarantine happening, a lot of people are having to repurpose a lot of rooms in their house, and that's happening for me in the garage. It's already had a few purposes. The workbench, this is where I do any work on my golf clubs or any work I need to do in the house. My gym, now that we're in quarantine. Club storage. My locker, have all my golf shoes, balls, hats, gloves, all of that. Now, it's also my putting studio. Last week, the awesome people at PuttOut sent me their whole in-home putting studio kit, and this video is not sponsored by them. They didn't ask me to make a video, but I want to share with you my thoughts on this and my experiences with it so far. Given the fact that most of the world is basically stuck indoors, we're forced to get creative with how we work on our golf games. I've actually never had a putting mat in my life. Growing up in Canada, I just putted on the basement floor and would set up discs for holes. This thing here, I'm just gonna talk you through it, the pros, the cons, what I think of it. I like this one because it's small enough, it's only 8 feet long, and really practicing putting outside of 6 feet doesn't really do you any good. So if you're inside and you're trying to hone in your stroke, I like that this mat is that small. It's not too busy. All the lines, to me, I friggin' love them, because when you set up a putt, like I've got this set up to 5 feet right here, there's a line right here that's basically a ball position line. Love that. You have lines that you can kind of match your shoulder with, and then your eyes on the mirror, you can match those lines there. And then you do have line marks throughout to let you know if you're rolling that putt, how you should be rolling it. There's the gate as well. You can kind of set this up a foot out, 2 feet out, wherever you like. I like it just a foot out. If you hit this putt the way you should hit it, it's gonna roll right through that gate. The kind of fundamental side of it, I really, really like. A con, I will say, is it is a little bit annoying if you happen to hit the gate. The gate will move, so you have to readjust it every time. It's not a huge opening, which I really like, but you kind of have to put a ball down dead on the middle of that line, set the gate, just so you're not hitting it every time. Because like I said, if you hit it, it's gonna move it a little bit. You can't just putt again. You can't just kind of eyeball it. You're better served to put the ball there, line it up. So that is a little bit of a nuisance. Like when you're putting on a green, you put your tees in. The tees aren't moving. Nitpicking, but that's one of the things I don't particularly care for. But just don't hit the damn gate, Andrew. You'll be fine. The mirror, super, super cool. I love that they have magnetic guides on it. Really great for, where you want to place it. Some people want to place it basically the width of the putter head. I like to have my gate, stroke gate, a little bit back so I'm not taking it to inside. That's one of the things that I use. Don't really use a top one. I just like having one here to make sure I'm not taking the putter back to inside. The magnets are super cool because you can move them around, but again, if you hit it, it moves. You kind of have to stick it back. Grasping at straws here, but it's one of those things like when you have tees in the ground on a green, it's not moving every time you're hitting it, you're getting that feedback, whereas this feedback does move, so you have to readjust it. Not the end of the world. Still super, super ingenious to have magnets. I really like it. I'm trying to just tell you the pros and cons, and those are basically the only cons I can think of. I have mine outside, so I do get crap on it that blows in through the garage, so I have to vacuum it just to make sure it's clean. If you're inside, you're not going to deal with that problem. But vacuuming it helps because it'll take most impurities out of it. And then obviously, if you don't have a perfectly level floor, your putt's gonna have a little bit of break. My gym floor here has a little bit of left to right break in it, so I have to move the cup accordingly, which I don't mind because again, it's having me line up and work on my alignment and make sure I'm starting the ball in line, and then just the putt should break. I don't like the idea of keeping this in the middle and then changing where you aim back there, because then you're defeating the purpose of having the lines on the mat. So I move this a little bit here, and I have a little left to right putt, which is great for a right-handed putter. Then you have the pressure putt trainer here that has 2 settings. You can have the hole out, so if you hit a perfect putt, perfect speed, perfect line, it's gonna stop right in there. And then you can put this back in here, and basically if the putt rolls up, however far it rolls back is how far you would have hit that putt past the hole. If I freaking hammer this thing, that's 3 feet, way too hard. So like that's the feedback you get that, okay, that was way too hard. You want these things ideally rolling, you know, 1 foot to 1.5 foot back. That's perfect speed, and a putt's gonna stay in that hole if it's perfect line, perfect speed. And let's see how good I am here. There we go, it kind of rested. So perfect line, perfect speed, and that perfect speed is probably about 16 to 18 inches past the hole. That's how I was raised. That's what my dad taught me for speed of a putt. You want to hit a putt that's going to go about 1.5 foot by the hole, and that's what I love about this. Altogether, this thing is awesome. And what I really appreciate is it's sold in 3 parts, so you don't necessarily need all 3. If you have a rug in the basement, I would highly recommend this. I think it's 30 bucks on Amazon. I've linked all the Amazon links below if you want to check it out more. But this is going to get you honed in on your speed, and that's huge. Like you just want to practice to something that has a bit more feedback than, say, a disc on the ground or a cup or whatever. This thing's awesome, and you don't need these other things to use this. If you have a rug already on the floor that you're content with, this thing is an awesome tool to have. Let's say you don't want any of the kit, you just want the mat. Well, go ahead, get the mat. So you can work on those lines and you can work on your stroke that way. But then if you only want the mirror and the gate, you can only get the mirror and the gate. Like, I really, really like that it comes in 3 parts. You don't have to get it all together. Yes, it's great for indoors if it's winter or if it's bad weather. Like, I'm gonna have this set up all the time so I can roll putts at any hour of any day. But I can also travel with the mirror, the gate, and practice with it. So let's go to the golf course. It does come with a nice little carry bag that fits everything perfectly, little slots exactly for the gate and for the magnets. And the criticism that I gave it back home in the garage about it moving when you hit it actually proves great outside, because you're not actually sticking any tees into the green. So you're preserving the green while you're putting, which is really nice, because these little feet, there's little nubs on the bottom of the mat and the bottom of the gate. But I've got this set up. When I was using this on Friday for the first time, my eyes were so far below the line, and then just using it over the weekend, it's like I set into it naturally now with my eyes in such a better place. And that's just kind of from the repetition in the garage over the weekend. So I'm really, really happy with that. Most professional golfers trust a mirror when they're practicing, when they're preparing. Like I said, it doesn't damage the green, which is awesome. And these little magnetic things, yeah, they move around, but you can move around with them accordingly to how you're wanting to make sure your stroke is being delivered into the ball. So I've got mine a little on the inside there. So using it out here on the green, on the practice green, is awesome. And I would say this is probably my favorite of the 3 pieces. Indoors, the little cup is awesome, but for getting the most out of all of your practice indoors and outdoors, this mirror gate setup is awesome. And one thing that's great is, you know, I like my putting template. Well, I can just put the mirror on top of the putting template, and then if I want, just put the gate here, so I can use both of these aids together, which is great. Using the mirror, but also having my my putting arc template just really doubles down on the technical work that I want to do on my stroke during some of my practice. Like when I use just the putting mat and put the tees in there, I have to use the widest gate possible, and those little red discs actually line up with the narrowest gate possible. And your boy's just grooving it right through. So this is awesome. How cool is that? So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this helped inform you a little bit about everything PuttOut's making. Again, not an ad, but PuttOut sent me this and I love it. And you can see why. It's really been helpful in just 2 days work. Everything's linked below if you want to check it out on Amazon. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and see you in the next video. Peace.